Sydney Sweeney is the latest of many celebrities who are moving out of Hollywood once they get the financial freedom to do so. And I remember there was this controversial interview that we actually talked about on the show with her, where she talked about how she doesn't make enough money on her roles, so she has to continue working in order to just make ends meet in order to live in LA. And I was like, not buying it, because she bought a mansion in LA. And that's obviously going to cost you, and no one should expect to retire at age 26, but that's just my take. She finally has decided to leave Hollywood, and now she is living in Florida. And Glen Powell also followed her along out of Hollywood to live in Austin, Texas, at the behest of Matthew McConaughey, who did the same thing. He said, Hollywood is the Matrix, man. You plug in and it's all a fake world.
I can't believe
he's like,
it sounds like a fake quote.
Then I go to Austin and I unplug. It's all real. Those are my friends. That's my family. My actions matter there. And he's right. If you're here, you live in the Matrix all the time. There's no separation of those worlds. And for me, especially as my parents get older and my niece and nephew are growing up, I want a separation of those worlds. So for industry people, for Hollywood A-listers, if Glen Powell is going to be that, the version of work-life balance is to live across the country from where you work.
Well, if you have the means to do so now, that makes more sense than ever. It's funny. Skating used to be the same way, meaning that all the companies were based in California. So to get any exposure back in the day, long before the age of like having a phone in your pocket that could film videos if you wanted it to, and you had to either own a camera yourself or know someone that owned a camera. If you wanted to skate for brands, for the most part, you lived in California with a few rare exceptions. But you know, the internet and cell phones kind of democratized that. But in Hollywood, they don't really have the same ability. You have to be able to go to unless you're a big enough name where you're getting offered roles, you have to go to casting calls. You have to, you know, try out for roles.
Yeah.
And you have to be there where the center of all these things is happening.
But once you're at the level of notoriety that Glen Powell has reached or that Sydney Sweeney has reached, you don't need to keep yourself in that physical location.
There's a $20 there from Gordon Shumway.
He said, all this new Star Wars material is just making the prequels more beloved. The irony is that the prequels were not liked when they first came out. Even Hayden Christensen is getting standing ovations at conventions.
Oh yeah, I mean that's revisionist history. Like there's so much in pop culture and movies and television that reference how much nobody liked the prequels after they came out.
I think the first one was bad, but the second two.
Oh, by the way,
were okay.
Vigo, they're referring to Ghostbusters 2. I didn't catch the reference in the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing that Glen Powell said he hates about Hollywood is that there are way more people who take pictures of him there. Like, they just pull out their phone and start taking pictures of him when, you know, if you did that to any other person, they would be like, what the fuck? What are you doing? He said he feels he's in a fishbowl. He said, the thing that makes me feel conflict with parts of that moment is that I'm choosing when I'm out in front. And I'm more than happy to be on a press tour. I love it. I love going on Jimmy Fallon. You walk out, you sign autographs, you do the whole thing. And the idea that you're a function here, someone will go, hey friend, want to come to this guy's house? Yeah, come over. And then you show up, suddenly you're there for someone's tequila launch, and all of a sudden there's a photographer, and you're like, wait, what are we doing here? And I think you get enough of those that you just want to bring your family as close as possible or run to them.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of them, like the number one thing you feel when you go to LA is just how fake it all feels and how unreal all of it is. It's just so surface level. It's so plastic. It's so fake that if you're living there and you've made the decision to want to work there and make a career out of it, and you're not that type of person, that's going to take a toll on you, especially once you do start reaching some level of success. Everyone is going to want a piece of you, and then nothing feels authentic anymore. Especially
when you say not that type of person, and not that type of person literally just means that you're normal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think normal, stable people can continue being that way in Hollywood. You either have to stay there and lose your mind or leave and keep some integrity intact. So that sounds like what he's trying to do. And I also remembered recently Evangeline Lilly posted that she is just done acting. Like, she just suddenly decided she wasn't going to do anything anymore. She said, "I'm so filled with joy and contentment today as I live out my vision. I'm grateful for my blessings. Stepping away from what seems like the obvious choice, wealth and fame, can feel scary at times, but stepping into your dharma replaces that fear with fulfillment."
Yeah.
She said, "I might return to Hollywood one day, but for now, this is where I belong."
Well, it must be nice to be able to just give up, what you're doing for a while. Stallone also.
Thank you.
Sylvester Stallone moved out.
Where is he now?
Florida.
Of course.
Yeah.
So is he like a closet Republican?
I think Stallone is a pretty,
Everyone says that about Sydney Sweeney and her whole family.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to say
moving to
Republican.
Florida. Moving to Florida is definitely.
He says. It says Casey DeSantis welcomes him to the free state of Florida, where you don't need armed guards to buy toothpaste in CVS. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they put Meghan Markle on this list, but it's like, you're leaving Hollywood because they didn't want you there. Yeah. That's not the same thing.
Look, the thing is once you reach a certain level of fame, you can live where you want, and you can make it to roles and stuff like that. You don't have to live there. The connections that you make there are what matter to them. And Glen Powell has made one of the things that we've talked about is that Glen Powell and Sydney Sweeney seem to be very good about playing the game. The behind the scenes game that it's taking to build a strong reputation in the industry, which is probably the hardest part to navigate, if you ask me.
As mediocre of an actress as you say she is.
She is.
She seems to understand the people side of things.
She's not a good actress.
She clearly cares about acting. Yeah. I don't know if she's a good actor or not.
That somehow makes it better to me. That somehow makes it better to me. I watch and I'm like, she's trying.
She really is putting in her all. She is giving it 100%, but it's not giving what it's supposed to give.
And these stories,
she can also afford a mansion in LA. She could afford one years ago anyway. But now she can afford an even bigger mansion in Florida and not have to be around annoying people all the time.
Yeah.
So it seems like a positive all around.
There's other people that have done that. Who is it? Mark Wahlberg left Hollywood, not like last year or something like that. Nevada or
I think he is like in the Vegas area.
He went to Vegas or Nevada or something, or Vegas or was it Reno, something like that. He moved out that way because again, he has built up a reputation and infrastructure around him that doesn't require him to be in Hollywood proper.
Mm-hmm. They also listed Tom Brady and Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos' home is wherever he decides to just drop
He's a global citizen,
yes,
so that doesn't count. Tom Brady is just trying to recover after the divorce.
Yeah.
But like, I see it as a good sign if these younger celebrities are leaving, because usually you get jaded and old before you actually leave a place like that. They realized it early on, which means, no annoying future Sydney Sweeney.
Well, the hope would be that, they make better decisions and they don't get sucked into the, the awful side of Hollywood that is so prevalent. And that's good for them and that's good for their careers if they can do that. And I think Glen Powell is probably doing one of the best jobs I've seen recently in taking roles that, don't pigeonhole him as an actor and allow him to shine in whatever he chooses to make. So
I'm sorry, but the quote that he gave from Matthew McConaughey was
cringy.
It almost sounds fake.
I mean,
he's saying Hollywood is the Matrix, man.
That interview was that thing from the interview about the cannibal ended up being an urban legend, and he addressed it on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know it wasn't real. I was told it was real. I just bought what they said."
His sister just totally lied to him.
Yeah, made it up.
It definitely sounded like an old wives' tale.
Yeah,
but I kind of love it anyway.
Did people just go Google looking for
Glen Powell true crime podcast? When?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
So more and more celebrities, as they gain the means to do so, should go and get the hell out of there and look to build their careers elsewhere. Plus, it's not like California is the only place where they're not just filming in California these days. Like every movie last year was, if you were in a big budget film, took place in Australia, and a lot of the TV shows take place in Atlanta or they take place in Vancouver, and actors, spend a lot of time there.
They aren't moving there.
No, they're not.
Oddly.
No.
They're not moving to Atlanta.
I mean, a lot of them probably have temporary residence while they're
That's the hidden thing about all of this. All of them are keeping homes in other states. Yeah. So You just do what Trump does. You spend more than 6 months one place, and then you go to the other place.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.